Now this is part 2 for ObjectiveBob. I ran something like 16 minutes and 34 seconds and just cuts off at 16 minutes. But there was a little last part that I wanted to share. Here is a college biology textbook. This is one of the hardest biology classes that you can take. And see, it goes through the construction of molecules to simple, I don't know how you can make this out, I don't know if you can see it, simple one cell organisms to very complex one cell organisms. I mean, that's amazing. That's almost seems like it was done by design. Almost. I'm not an advocate of intelligent design by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, and after we get past amoeba or membrane structure and function, we get to plant cells and stuff like that, with cell walls. And when I mean plant cells, I mean not only cells that can produce photosynthesis, but tree cells. And we get on to things like worms and receptor proteins, and then the actual membrane walls. And then more building of molecules, and then how that, I've got a lot of notes in here, how that affects the cattle and trees and the life cycle, and then even the very complex skin of a plant that does so many things. I mean, it's miraculous. You can look, if you look at nature, you look at it with a sense of total awe. And just the different chains of, I mean, all the different specialized cells that there are. And I mean, before we get into anything, you know, really great here, let me see if I can get some down. Oh, Mendelian genetics covers that, but that's in a later chapter. Let's just get the chromosomes here. Well, here's a great picture right here. Is a man and a woman actually jogging. Do you realize how complex the human body is? And then the transfer of that with, here maybe I can show this in the crappy sepia tone thing. Right there, passing on genetic material, DNA, to get to chromosomes. My advice to ObjectiveBob is to pick up a college level science book. Take a class. Why couldn't man just appear? Bertrand Russell was not a scientist. He was a writer, wasn't he? He was he's the one with free love and free sex and all that kind of stuff. This to me is utter disrespect. I mean, it really is creationist. ObjectiveBob, I think me and you have talked, and I think it was on friendly terms, but this question really blows me out of the water. I really don't understand how somebody educated, I don't know if you're American, but at least educated in the West, yeah, here's something fantastic. This is just probably the miracle of all miracles. Let me see if I can find it. Here, look at this. The growth of a fetus. I know it's all sepia toned, and I'm very sorry for that, but please, college level biology book. Please pick this up, and even if you don't take a college level class, I mean, the question is, why couldn't God, I mean, it's almost as if you're asking, why couldn't God create man first and then the universe second? Again, I think this is a joke. You're probably joking. You're having me on. I get it. Ha 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 ha. Very funny. But if this is a serious question, I don't know what to say to you. I think this is a joke. So good job playing the Poe thing, the creationist thing. Bertrand Russell. It's almost like hearing about Christopher Hitchens talk about science. It really is. It really is quite funny. But yeah, maybe I shouldn't have made a video. I should have just said ha 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 or something like that. But again, there are creationists out there, so I did make this video. This is not an insult to you, unless those actually were real questions. But I think you're intelligent enough to know that those are non-questions. It's kind of like, why can't a horse breathe in? If God is real, then why can't a horse breathe in space? Or why can't we breathe water? Or it proves that there's no God because we can't breathe water, or we can't breathe argon. I mean, you look at how complex and fragile. I mean, that's even an atheist, I mean, would say it's a miracle. They wouldn't have they wouldn't have the awe. Well, they still would have the awe and amazement. They might not see anything supernatural behind it, but I mean, what you're talking about is just straight up superstition and just foolishness. But I'm not saying that you, again, this is probably a joke, but 13 billion years along, according to who? A speck of dust? The Earth, it's not a speck of dust. And to those people who, I mean, I support not a geocentric, I don't want to say anthropomorphic, an anthropic view of the center of the universe, because we are the center of the universe, from our perspective, because it's perspective. Is there a center of the universe? Probably not. And even if there is a geographical location that's the center of the universe, so what? Because that's, I mean, this is where we view everything from. This is where we send our space probes out from. But to look at the world and see so much complex and so much beauty, and to think this happened very shortly, it actually happened within a blink of an eye. I mean, the universe is 13 billion years old. Our planet's 4 billion years old, and was inhabited a lot shorter than that. I mean, the sky was red, the oceans were green, and it wasn't until a bacteria came around that a primitive form, or a form of it, the ancestral form of it, exists in cow intestines, to actually make the Earth habitable for oxygen-breathing life. I mean, even fish breathe oxygen. I mean, they get it, you know. It's not as if they get it from water and they break it down, or else the oceans would basically be on fire from splitting all the atoms. But I'm pretty sure you know that, or from breaking down the molecules, you know, from oxygen, hydrogen, you know, the surface of the water would basically be on fire or something to that degree. So not an insult to you, but I think this is more of a kind of the straw man. How is Yusef going to deal with with the creationist argument? So I actually commend you for that. Peace to you. May God save Serbia and Syria. And it's been fun. All right, take it easier out there, Objective Bob. But yeah, I think that tops the silly question. Maybe I should do a countdown at the end of the year of the silliest questions asked. But again, I don't think you asked that in seriousness. So, peace to you. May God save Serbia and Syria. Good one. I see it as a joke, so good one. I think you're well, I don't want to keep going over and over again, but yeah, it was a good one. Good joke. Alright, take it easy. A speck of dust that just happens to have an iron core and is suitable for life and complex beauty of life. Either that or you live in a concrete cell and have never seen a flower before or something like that. Alright, take it easy. This will probably be my last video of the night. Alright, peace to you. Now this is part 2 for Objectivist Bob. I ran something like 16 minutes and 34 seconds and just cuts off at 16 minutes. But there was a little that goes through the construction of molecules to simple, I don't know how you can make this out, I don't know if you can see it, simple one cell organisms, the imagination. Alright, and after we get past amoeba or membrane structure and function, we get to plant cells and stuff like that with cell walls and to very complex one cell organisms. I mean, that's amazing. That's almost seems like it was done by design. Almost. I'm not an advocate of intelligent design by any stretch. Last part that I wanted to share. Here is a college biology textbook. This is one of the hardest biology classes that you can take. And see